welcome back to Scales with Simpson. And we've already looked at now 3 different ways of pretty conventional how to play major scales, but there's all sorts of different scales. And I thought it would be fun to sort of introduce you to some and how you can find them and make them and how they sound when you play them a little bit. I love this because it's amazing to me how you can take, we've got 12 notes to play with, and you can take some of those notes, 7 of them or whatever, and put them in a certain sequence, and all of a sudden you sound like you're playing in a different part of the world. It's an amazing, amazing thing to me that you can transform people, you can take them on a trip just by playing the notes a certain way. So I love exploring the different sounds of different scales from around the world. It's great for songwriting too, because, if you're always just sort of looking in the same place for ideas, it sometimes, it gets stale. So you can sort of play around with the different scale and come up with a melody. If you're playing with like a Japanese scale, it doesn't have to be a Japanese song. You just might come up with a melodic idea from that scale that you kind of go, hey, that's nice, and you put it in your song. Anything that can help you to be inspired to find something new is worth it, in my opinion. I love playing with scales. So I love it so much that I have things like this, which is musical scales, ethnic and otherwise, a shortcut to identifying and using scales based on the relationship to the major scale, plus various interesting oddities. So this is just like a Bible of different scales, and she spends pages and pages and pages talking about scales and their constructions. I mean, if you want a deep dive, this is where to go. Read it from cover to cover and you'll be a master. It talks about the basic scales, but what I love is farther along in the book, she just gives lots of examples of different scales from around the world and sort of the recipe on how to make them. Like here is, look at all these different scales. A Japanese scale. So what I've done is I've picked a few of those out, and I thought we could make them here and sort of see what they sound like. I'll do a couple on the ukulele and a couple on the guitar, and then I'll make them with you, and I'll give you a link if you look below this YouTube, in the links below you'll find a link that you can download that whole book if you want, and you can go and just sort of explore and do whatever you want. It's really fun to play with these ideas, I think. So I called up a few different ones. I went through and just found, like, I like the idea of this Hindu scale. So because I wonder what it'll sound like, obviously. So what this does is it tells you here the intervals. If you look, the intervals like whole step, half step, to make this scale work. So it starts the first from the first note to the second note is a half step, and then a whole and a half, 1 1/2, and then a half, and then a whole, then a whole, then a whole, then a half. Down here farther though, it just gives you all the notes that you can try if you want. So we're going to do it this way though, because that's how we've been studying and how we've been trying things. So we're going to let's start on C. Whoops. Here we go. So we're going to start on C, and then we're going to go half step, 1 1/2, and then another half. Okay. So the second note is going to be a half step, and then 1 1/2. Whoops. There we go. And then 1 1/2. So there's a 1, and there's a half. We're going to go all the way to there. And then we're going to do another half, and then 1, 1, 1. Okay, so we're going to do a half now, and then 1, 1, 1, and then a half. So let's just make sure we got that right. Half, 1 and a half, half, 1, 1, 1, and then a half. Yeah. So we should have C. This is D flat, but it could also be C sharp. So C, D flat, and then E, yep, F, G, A, B, C. Okay. So this is the Hindu scale apparently. Let's see how it sounds when you go up and down it a few times. You can sort of hear that sound, eh? I'm just sort of moving around the scale now, just dancing around. If you can look at the purple dots, all I'm doing is playing around with the scale, moving the cursor. Okay, and then it shows you also on the neck how to play it. So you can, you know, once you get it, you can sort of what I try to do when I start doing this is I try to start making note of where they are according to these dots. So it's open, and then on the 1st fret, and then on the 4th fret, then the 5th, then the 7th, then the 9th, and then the 11th, and the 12th. 12, 11, 9, 7, 5, 4, sharp 2, or sharp 1, I mean. So 1, sharp 1, and then 1. Anyway, that's one you can play with. It's kind of fun. Let's try another one. Have to get rid of these to start from scratch again. Okay, so we'll try maybe, let's try the Jewish one it says here. I wonder what that is. So in the Jewish one, the intervals are 1, a whole step, half step, whole step, 1.5 step, and then 1.5, half, and then 1.5, and then half and half. I think I better go. So we'll just follow this again, eh? So we'll start on C, and then we're going to go C, D, D sharp, E. C, D, and then D sharp, right? D, and D sharp, or E flat, and then E, F, G, A, B flat, C. Okay, I think I've got that. I just have to remember. E flat. E is next, so this one, that's E flat, but the next one we're going to do is going to be E, so it's right next to it, right? It's a semitone up, half step up, and then whole step, step, whole step. See what we did. Just check it here. We got E, F sharp, G sharp. I don't think that's right. E, we need F. G. A. And then, how many notes are there in this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9. So there's 9 notes in this one. So that's why I'm having a little trouble, because I've only got 8 spaces. But I just won't do this last one because it's another C. So I'll end it here on B flat. Right here. So according to that scale, this is our Jewish scale. Just go up and down a couple times to hear it. Fun. So there's another example of, you know, just a way you can explore and play and have fun using this whole step and half step system. I'll do a couple on guitar now just to, you know, be fair. So let's see which one we'll do for the guitar. We did the Jewish one. Here's a Polish one. Here's a Hindu one. Oh, that looks interesting. I'm going to try that one. A half, a whole, 1 1/2, half, half, 1 1/2, half. Or it's right there for us. So C, D flat, E flat. So let's say it's C. So let's say we're going to start here for the guitar on the 3rd fret. Okay. So C, and then D flat and E flat. So C, we're going to go up a half. Oh, I was doing that. Okay. And then C, D flat, E flat, and then F sharp, G, A flat. So E flat. That's F, there's F sharp. That's the one we're on now. We're going to go a half step up to G, and then a half step up to A. Flat. So a half step up to G, a half step up to A flat, and then B and C. Yeah, that's it. So this is the Hindu scale. Back to the beginning. Have a listen. Kind of has that sound. Okay, let's do one more for fun. Now, let's say we do, well, blues. That's a good one to do. Some of you probably know the blues. There's one from India. Hungarian. Let's try the Hungarian one for fun. So 1 1/2. So it starts We'll just stay with C because, and then we're going to go 1 1/2 to there is the next one, and then 1/2, and then 1. So 1/2, and then 1. That's where we are now, and then 1/2, 1, 1/2, and then 1, and then 1/2, and then 1. Okay. So we're going to go 1/2, sorry. 1/2, and then 1, and then 1/2, and then 1. Okay. So here's our Hungarian scale. Fun, eh? So there's an endless number of scales. You can just Google them too. Just Google scales from around the world and you'll come up with all sorts of different ideas you can try and have some fun on your instruments and with your songwriting too. That's how I love using it for that, improvising and songwriting. Okay folks, well that's it for the scale series. And next we're going to start on the chord series. But for now, this is it. Thanks a lot for doing these, and I hope they help. See you next time.